Hi everyone, today I want to show you something about this little headphone here. It is the 105 Silva that was just released in July 25. From Meze Audio, it currently costs around $4.99 US or 4.99 euros. It is an open back dynamic driver headphone that kind of competes a little bit with the 105 Air from Meze Audio that sits around $3.99. But this here is a little bit more affordable than the 109 Pro. So I'm quite curious on how this here actually competes to the 105 Air, if the $100 extra are worth it. Just a little side note before we actually start now. Meze Audio did send this headphone here for review purposes to my channel, but they didn't say anything what I can or cannot say, other than I tell you my own honest opinion about this headphone, and that's what I always do on my channel. Just the links you see in the description are actually affiliate links. If you want to use them, great. If you don't want to use them, also fine. And with this out of the way, I would say let's get right into it and start our unboxing. So here we have the package of the 105 Silva. So it's quite simplistic. Here on the back side is a little text. It says Silva, Romania known for forest. And then it describes a little bit of why they gave it maybe that name. Feel free to pause the video and read that if you want to. And now I would say let's open it right away. Okay, here we go. Alright, so here's the little carry case and a little bit of a manual, I guess. Let's check that out. Okay. Here we have safety instructions. So it says how long you should be listening to how loud. So please be aware to not listen too loud for too long, otherwise you will damage your ears. Okay, here you see some specifications about the headphone, like what's included and the technical specifications of it. Here you see an explanation on how to replace the ear pads, or about the headband that is self-adjusting, and also a bit of an explanation on where to put which side of the cable, like the left or the right. Let's check out the headphones itself now. So this is the carry case of it. It's quite robust and has a little latch here to carry it if you want to. And a nice zipper. And here is the 105 Silva. Wow, it actually looks gorgeous. I really like the walnut wood here. It also feels soft to the touch, and yeah, I also like this little accents. And here you have really plushy ear pads that are of a velour material. Here you see 105 Silva headband, like a suspension headband that adjusts to your head automatically when you put it on. Here you see the ports. Sadly, it seems like this is again recessed ports a bit, but they seem a little bit wider. The clamp force here is, I would say, medium. Alright, that's the headphones itself. Here's a little carry pouch. I guess the cable is in here. So here we have the cable that comes with it. It's a nicely sleeved cable with decent length. It also doesn't seem to have that much memory effect to it. The upper part seems to be a rubberized material. And here you see the little interconnects to the headphone. It also comes with this little USB dongle, so you can actually use it directly with your phone, for example. You just plug your cable in here, and then you can just start using it. It also comes with this little 6.3mm adapter in case you need it. The interconnects itself feel quite nice and metallic. Alright, that's it pretty much from the unboxing. Let's get back to the review. Alright, so having unboxed this headphone and been testing it for a while, what can I say about it? First of all, Silva, the name of it, actually is a Romanian name for forest. I can see that maybe they choose the name because of this little nice walnut cups and the straight lines here. Maybe they should resemble something like a forest, like trees. But this is just speculation on my part with a lot of fantasy in it. But generally speaking, the build quality is very good. I think Meze builds one of the very best headphones out there, quality-wise. I mean, just look at them. Personally, I really like the aesthetics of this headphone. I mean, you don't have any sharp edges here. I really like this walnut cups here, and I think this here is high grade plastic material, but it really doesn't feel cheap or looks cheap. Inside here seems to be a metal grill. Then it has the spring steel headband here that you also already know from the 105 Air, for example. They look quite alike, but the main difference, of course, here is that the Silva has this walnut cups and a little bit of a different design, but generally speaking, they quite look alike. Also here, the suspension headband is the same. It automatically adjusts to your head when you put it on. I can show you maybe like this, so you don't really have to fiddle around with it to get a really good fit with it. It also is a little bit plushed here, and I know that it's fully replaceable. This headphone is fully serviceable. If you, for example, wanted to replace the earpads, it is easily possible. And the earpads itself are nice and plushy. It's a little bit of a velour material, so I really do not get any hot ears wearing these. It's really comfortable. So the cable that comes with it is a very nice cable. It is sleeved and is not having any memory effect to it, so I really like using it. The half of it is like sleeved, and here you can see it's a rubberized material. I can see why they did it like this, because this headphone here, the same as the 105 Air, deals a little bit with microphonics, meaning when your cable is rubbing against your clothes or a zipper or something, sometimes it gets transmitted to the ear cups. And when I used my hard audio cables, I had this issue quite a bit. But with this included cable, it's not that bad. So I would suggest use the included cable. But if you decide to go for an aftermarket cable, be aware that, as you can see, the ports here are a little bit recessed in the ear cup. Give me a second. And it's quite slim. So with my hard audio cable, it was a barely fit. So be aware of that. But generally speaking, this cable here is really fine. I like it. It's good. It doesn't feel cheap. So you can easily use that. So the termination of this cable is 3.5 millimeter, and it also comes with an adapter of 6.3 millimeter. And it also comes with this little dongle included. So you can just put this cable here into the dongle, and then you can easily use it already with your phone or with your laptop. Personally, if I would want to make an improvement here, maybe I would have used the cable to be a 4.5 millimeter balance termination, so it fits more nicely in depths that mostly have that kind of port. But really, this is just nitpicking. I'm very happy that they included this little dongle, so people also who don't have an amp already or something can actually already start using the headphones quite easily, also on the go. So I really like that they included this little dongle deck. So the weight of this headphone is, I would say, very good. It just weighs 354 grams. It's just a little bit heavier than the 105 Air that weighs 340 grams, but you don't really feel it, I have to say, because of the suspension headband. This is really good. So I didn't have any point where I said after a few hours wearing these, oh, my head is hurting, I have hot spots or something. This was not the case. So in general, the driver of this 105 Silva and the 105 Air are quite similar. The biggest difference is that the Silva here has a titanium coating on it. You can see here how the driver itself will look like if you're interested in it. So the clamp force of this headphone, I would say, is a medium clamp force. It fits quite nicely on my head. It doesn't slide around when I move. And if you're somebody who's sensitive to clamp force or really wants to have a little bit of a less clamp force, you can potentially reduce the clamp force here, because it is actually done by the spring steel headband. And if you gently bend this part here a little bit, you can reduce the clamp force a bit. But be careful to not do it too much. But it's possible like this. I didn't need to do that because for me it's perfect. But it's good that there's actually a possibility to change that if you want to change that. So maybe just one little thing that I find to be not ideal is cup swivel. So as you can see, it is kind of the same design than the 105 Air. just that it has here a little plastic material, but the design itself is kind of the same. And what I said here also applies here. This ear cups here do have a little bit of movement, right? But the side movement is not that much. So cup swivel is really not like a big point here because it doesn't really have much of it. I mean, I didn't have any trouble with it fitting on my head comfortably, but maybe some people will have maybe an issue. I appreciate designs that allow for a little bit more cup swivel, so it can fit a wide variety of heads. Good. But yeah, just a side note to that. I didn't have issues, but yeah, cup swivel is really not a lot here. So the 105 Silva actually comes with this little carry case. That is a hard shell carry case that is quite the same than the 105 Air. It looks quite alike, and I think it is the same more or less. If you open it up, it is having a little bit of a softer material in here, and also comes with this little carry pouch where you can put the cables in, accessories in here, so they don't scratch the headphones. Like this, you can carry around your 105 Silva quite easily without risking any damage to it. So about drivability in general, this headphone really is not that hard to drive, I would say. It has an impedance of 42 ohms, a sensitivity of 112 dB per milliwatt, so it is fairly easy to drive. You can easily get them loud enough with just this dongle deck. I mean, I put it in my PC and didn't watch the volume for a second. I had it on 80 or 90% and I nearly blasted my ears off. So yeah, be aware of that. This dongle is quite enough to drive these adequately. I mean, yes, you can use a separate deck amp to get a little bit more refined sound, but really if you want to have a deck amp separately, you don't really need to go crazy. I found them to be doing quite nicely with air-to-air decks, for example, that smoothed around the top end a little bit. So, for example, I used it with the EF500, EF400. I really liked it with these devices, but they are also quite expensive in regards to the price of the headphones itself. So maybe something like the FIO K11. I didn't test it myself, but it's also an air-to-air deck that I heard good things about. Maybe this one could also be a good option for this headphone, but really, you really don't really have to do that. So the dongle deck here is enough to drive them good. So don't go crazy here. So generally speaking, about the build quality, to complete that, I think it's a very well-made, high-engineered headphone that is very comfortable, and that I also see people not being ashamed of wearing it because the design is just that nice, and I also like the approach of everything being here replaceable. So how did the 105 Silva actually sound like? So I think it is a little bit more of a technical version when comparing to 105 Air. It definitely has more treble energy than a 105 Air. It feels very clear, a little bit less sibilant than a 105 Air. I will not say that the 105 is a sibilant headphone, it is not. Just when closely comparing this, it is something I spotted. It has a really nice treble. It is quite natural and pleasant. It is still quite bright, so for sure brighter than the 105 Air. The tone and timbre are quite natural. It is a little bit more mid-range focused, so vocals are really good sounding and very natural, and in general I really liked it. The bass is tight and fast, but the bass punch is really not that strong here, so the 105 has a little bit more of that, a little bit more sub bass than the 105 Silva, so that's not really what the Silva was focused on. The Silva here was more focused on a good mid-range. So itself, the soundstage here is to be on a, I would say medium size. It's a little bit smaller than, for example, the X-Shape HiFiMan headphones to my ears, and it is having still a good and accurate soundstage that is quite placing the instruments quite nicely, separating them from each other. Also for gaming it was good to use, so no worries. Alright, so since this is just my own ears, my perception of the 105 Silva, Your opinion, your ears might differ. Therefore, I prepared a little bit of a sound test where I recorded the sound coming out of this headphone with binaural microphones from Soundman, comparing this headphone here to the 105 Air and also the HiFiMan Aria Stealth, because the Aria Stealth, after the price drops, sits quite around this price range of the Silva. Therefore, I wanted to include that. Give it a listen yourself, but please be aware that it may be more useful if you wear headphones while the sound test is running, because then you can more easily spot the small difference between the headphones, because they are not that big. Therefore, it's more easily to spot if you wear headphones yourself. So I would say let's get right into it and start the sound test now.
I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago. I've changed for the better this time. I thought I would never be fine. I strive just to say I'm alright, and for the first time in a long time I'm alright. I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago. I'm not falling. I'll push all my chips and call all in. I'll bet on myself, you keep stalling. I hear destiny and it's calling. I'll keep my head up high through the downs and lows, and we're all going life. Still nobody knows, but I'ma choose what's right and take what comes and goes. And ain't no one in life holding me back no more.
Old friend, you've traveled miles, spinning in circles, your blind eyes on the dial, stripping out the colors. A man whose steps leave no trace. A man whose voice sounds like tears. A man whose memory erased. A man whose time flow off beats. You learn that all is not in vain. All that matters remains. But it's time to say goodbye until next life. A man whose steps leave no trace. A man whose voice sounds like tears. A man whose memory erased. A man whose time flow off beat.
that was the little sound test from the 105 Silva. Let me know in the comments down below how you liked the 105 Silva and how it competes the 105 Air. And yeah, with this now, I guess we are quite finished with the short review. I hope you've liked it. And if you did, please consider hitting the like and subscribe button to support me a bit so I can actually keep on doing headphone reviews for you also in the future. And I guess I see you next time. Ciao, ciao!